Hello everyone, this is 41 Solstice 25, Winter Solstice 8. What's up? What's happening? And today I'm going to get to a little more of the rest of the basics in statue building. I guess we can just tie this across. We don't really need an ass. If we don't want to, it's really, if you feel like it, go ahead. If you don't even worry about it. That's actually the case when it comes to statue building. If you feel like it'll just like make something awkward or I don't know, whatever thoughts going through your head, it's up to you really. I could make the ass if you guys want. But yeah, we're going to bring this in just a little bit more so we go a little less further away from the leg width and a little more to torso width. And we're going to try to fill this in a little better up to so high before we make our next conclusive decision. I think that's what I did on this side. Yes, it is. And apparently it's too high for me to fly over from that elevation, so I have to actually tap spacebar up. You know, of all the things, I don't like changing my elevation much. Like, I'm very accustomed to sticking to an elevation until I'm done with it. Yeah. Ultimately, this is going pretty well so far. It is definitely looking like someone's lower half, so that's a good thing. We probably want to do something like this, but we may change up how that kind of blends in a little better sometime soon. Now, as a forewarning, I'm not sure how much more of this I'm going to really record because I don't know how much time I have to make the rest of this before a certain day, which will give you a pretty good idea as to when I've actually been building and recording this versus when it's uploaded. Like, the day is basically the next day, I think. Maybe the day after, I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to check my DeviantArt or something if my internet would stop being a jerk. But yeah, I've actually been recording bits and pieces of this, one day to the next, actually. So honestly, it's not, too strange or anything. Trying to think. I think what I actually need to do is I need to go down there. Also, let's fill that bit in. Just because. And that's actually kind of, actually, let's leave that bit in there. And let's just sort of cut that out. And make this go in one on the sides. Because if you ever pay attention to how a back actually is, it actually kind of goes inward a bit from the side. Wait, what? Oh, that's what I did. That's why that side looked strange to me. Weird. Man, I get so ahead of myself. It's actually impressive sometimes. Okay, so usually when it comes to stomachs, you have something similar up front, but not exactly the same, and it's very different from men than it is to women. To some extent, it is pretty similar, but it is quite different at the same time. For women, it goes pretty inward and then pretty outward for someone who's pretty well fit, and then for men, it's usually pretty, not a whole lot of change when they're, lacking in that kind of body mass. Anyway, trying to think. I'll be honest, it's not actually very often I make a man. But for now, let's do this bit. I'm kind of in a decisive stage, figuring out the, how to really handle the body type. Because I don't do very many, buff guys, really. Nor do I look at very many buff guys. So it's a bit of a hit or miss sort of deal. And either you see it and have like a reference in front of you, or you have a pretty decent understanding. If you don't have any of that, it's going to probably turn out awkward. Had an interruption. But I think that's about as much inward as that's going to get. Pretty soon we'll actually be going pretty outward for like the more physique of the top, kind of. Yeah, that's definitely looking a lot like a person now, which makes me feel good about myself. And it means I done good. I done good, you guys. I done good. Be proud of me. Give me an applause. Thank you. Okay. And now, we're just going to make this go a little up higher. And when we think we got it a little high enough, we will start planning out what the actual chest location region is. I want to say it's probably around here. Just like, get them pecs, man. Get them pecs. To some extent, I have some experiences in building dudes, or male figures of such. Like, if you've seen what my Legion statue was, that was pretty cool, and it's actually a pretty good demonstration of what I kind of do know about building such. At the same time, we want this pretty manly looking, but at the same time, we don't want it to look too buff and such. Because if you've looked at the skin, it's sort of like a Spectre sort of thing, and you don't normally think of like a super buff Spectre. You normally think of like a kind of like a skinny guy, maybe in a jacket or something, just like chasing after you and but anyway, that's roughly the idea. No problem at all. No problem at all. You know why? You know why? I don't get scared much. Just like whenever I think I have a fear of something, I try to look into conquering it and accepting things and all this and that. I actually don't get scared much. Like, I always look up creepy shit. So there's that, and I'm pretty sure I should not go too much higher here. I have a feeling this is about the time I want to implement the upper torso. I want to say here, maybe a little thicker, get a better look at this. Actually, I would say that's a pretty good call. A pretty good stop call. Just wow. I don't think I normally time it that well. But yeah, we also want to add a bit of thickness here in the back for like the shoulder blades. Oh, shit. Don't do that to me. What'd I ever do to you? I don't think emphasis on the shoulder blades is gonna really do much for this particularly, because we're not gonna see it much with like the jacket on. But at the very least, we want to implement a little more man muscle physique something in the front. How far out did I? Okay, I went that far apparently. It is partially guessing game to me, because I have to remind myself what I did previously. Let's try a thing. Does that still look good? I think so. Still looks like a person. It's still considerable to add shoulder blades to me, but we're gonna try to ignore that. And for now, we are going to plan out where the head is. Now, figuring that bit out will give us a pretty good idea as to how we should try to perhaps go about some of the rest of this. Let's also actually thicken this bit up. And let's do one more of that. Maybe that's a bit too much and feels more like a breastplate. Yeah, I think like this is probably fine. I just want to see how that looks. All I definitely know is we need to add a little more mass to the sides, otherwise it looks a little too flat and therefore awkward. I'm thinking something along the lines of this for sure, up top. Which, this is basically the shoulders and where the arms are going to go, so that is going to remain a constant in terms of elevation, which is going to also go into the presentation as well. Double check how I've been doing it from one angle to the next. Otherwise, if you don't keep up with yourself, you're going to confuse yourself. Have I been doing it that close? Okay. Okay, we know we got that much at least. Let's do just a bit more right there. Let's get a good comparison look. Let's do a bit more in the front, blending into the shoulder. It's gonna add a little more mass to that. And in turn, it's gonna feel just a tad bit more presentable. Let's add a little sloping into the neck. Otherwise, it's gonna look like the neck is a stick. Yes, a stick. Just a big old stick right there with a head attached to it. And it's not gonna look like it was intended to really stay. Similar to the rest of this, the head is going to... I normally put the heads together in a pretty similar fashion. I usually focus a bit of a basic in one way, then I focus a bit of a basic in another way. Usually it turns out pretty well. Or at least not too bad. have to say, out one more with that. Not sure why I'm placing all goofy right now, but whatever. I did. It's done. That part is done. Okay, we're getting a little more of the ideal of that. Now next we kind of want to implement a little more in the shape, and then we can more fine-tune the correct sizes in it. Now actually we're going to add a little bit of cheekbone here, as I like to call it. Because this is going to be a little wider, just so we can fit more an actual face on it. To some extent, this can look awkward on statues, but this actually needs to go up top. So what we can decide from looking at this is that the head is going to go upward just a little bit more, just to be sure we can fit some of that face in there. If we can't fit the face in there, we're going to be disappointed. And we can't decide for who it could possibly be. Who? Actually, I'm going to stop myself. I don't know if that's copyright or anything. I don't really know how to... I'd have to look into the whole copyright system. But man, was that tempting to just start singing. But yeah, it's starting to look a little more like a head now. Maybe a bit of a big head, actually. Let's actually punch that bit out. And we'll get a little more of this egg shape. And if we do something a little more like this, we'll have a little more of an actual head shape. Let's actually leave that one in. Let's add a little more up top. Okay, let's actually punch a little bit of this out. A bit of... Actually, no, let's not do that at all. So if we actually leave it like this, I think that's actually pretty decently fine. Maybe add a little under that for a little side mass and not a little less awkwardness. And like, say this is actually supposed to be like a little more round. And now we got more of the correct head shape. If you want, you can just sort of toss in a nose already. Let's see. It's basically the case where the eyes are dark, like so. So you can basically just toss that in there. And we don't have to actually worry about hair because it's not really showing anywhere in the skin. So that's a little less on our minds to think about when it comes to this one in particular. So that's cool. I'll be honest, I actually paused the video to bring back up my reference. Like, this is, since this was the other day, that's the new day, that I started recording this bit, I kind of closed it since then. And of course I restarted my computer just to keep things like a little more cool and a little more chill. Actually, I think I'm actually going to remove the nose, and we're going to do this sort of like a... We need to decide on how to do the blood coming from the eyes. As much as the skin itself suggests it comes from the more center of the eyes, I think it might actually be better for us to, for starters, not use that color. Why'd I do that? For starters, not use this horrid brownish color. And if we're going to do anything of the sorts, do it from the outer sides of the eyes and down the face. debate if we actually want a nose is kind of there. What, adding around masculine something in there, fix that? Probably not. For some reason seeing this, I just think of Notice Me Senpai. He looks so sad. Anyway, I guess let's just say to hell with the nose. But there might be a better block somehow for that bit at the eyes. The best way to really tell is to just sort of try on a few things. Actually, I think this is good. That's about exactly the same color. But personally, I think something brighter should be the case to make it actually stand out. Exactly where does it run to? No one knows. It actually just ends on the face, in the skin. Last I checked. I might try to make some blood dripping off it or something. Just like off the chin. Maybe there will be like a small puddle right there. No. That would look awkward to me. I don't like that thought. And looking back at it, I probably should have kept that andesite on me. Actually, let's not use that andesite at all. So I think when it comes to the arms, what's actually shown is just some bloody mess at the end of the sleeves. But you know what? Actually, it is kind of tempting to just sort of just build the sleeves themselves instead of like building the arms and the sleeves around them. But at the same time, I want to say, let's do this the hard way, just for the extra sense of character in it. Now, the parts I think I probably won't actually record is along the lines of like the jacket. Like, I'm going to have it a little wavy and such, so there's going to be a lot of little details about that. It's going to be a lot to go over, and it definitely will take up time. Just 100% will take up time. Remember, kids, will take up time. Remember, adults, will take up time. This is that. Remaining mass in. It'll keep things from being awkward for bringing out the arms a little more for you to use, for me to use as well. I'm the one building this. Unless if you're trying to build this along with me, in which case, I'm sorry about a few of the parts where it's a bit of kind of skipped-ish. But yeah, this is about... Actually, let's do a bit of this kind of action here. To make it feel a little more consistent. So I just made that solid and then I went down. Okay, yes I did. Makes perfect sense, actually. It really does. I haven't fully done the calculations of how to do the shoulder yet, but let's just start it off with this. Honestly, I think this method is just as good calculated as much as it's good if it's not calculated. Actually, I want to say that's the more correct shoulder thickness, as well as to the arm. I'm gonna say just break that, and then that will feel correct. If we just improve the shoulder connecting it, otherwise it's going to look hardly connected at all, is the issue. Oh. So we really want it to look adequate, so if it doesn't look adequate, it's going to look awkward as hell in later stages, and you're going to be kicking yourself about it. And it's like, why didn't I do it this other way? It would have looked a little better. Actually, I think I probably want the arms going down, don't I? That's probably going to look a little better, a little more in presentation. You know what? I think I know a good way to actually sort this kind of issue. I was actually working on this kind of idea very recently. So what I did is I picked a block I was not going to use immediately, and then I just sort of figured out how far the arms could reach down. I estimate that being just a little past the crotch, which would be around here-ish. So it would be around there. Now just build out a line. And I would just sort of build out the arm design to that line. And I would know its pretty appropriate length and as a general, and then I could basically call that just needs to be reshaped or something. So like the hand should reach to probably there, as well as there. If we build it too close to the legs, we will lose track of the fact that it's a hand at the legs, because we're using this wool, unless we're, well, even if we were using the jacket, we'll lose track of it. So this is actually considerably the better of methods, and ultimately I think I'm going to regret this the least. Oh, I got ahead of myself right there. Good boy. Give this man a treat. You see this, guys? I don't even realize some of the stuff I do, and it's just ready for me. That's how you know you were in the right thinking for what you want to be doing. When you're just ahead of yourself, when everything is just going perfect. I feel like this might be too thick. You know, like punch it sort of like this. Yeah, I think that's the idea. I'm pretty sure that's the idea. Oh yeah, most definitely the idea. That's looking a lot more correct already. Okay, so let's just start from the top. So down to and fully down until you get some kind of gap of 2 there from the inside. Let's just sort of do that this one last sort of time, as we might try to do the rest of the arms a little different. And if we stop now, it'll be a little easier to re-coordinate that. But I'm just gonna have a quick pause and do a bit of walking. Alright, while off camera, I went and reinforced my understanding of his skin. So I was right, there wasn't really any shoes, or these aren't exactly like shoe base where there's like the footprint base underneath. It's basically just like bloody feet. In which case we could actually just do a few speckles here and there right now while we think of it. Let's do a few more. It'll be just about as randomized to the next one, so it's a little less copied over. Pretty sure it's a little less copied over. If I somehow do the same thing elsewhere, I don't know how I did. This here like so. Do a little bit more over here. Yeah, like going up his leg a little. A few more. And I would say it's about good enough. Because we don't need the whole thing bloody. Just a little bit. Just the little speckles were really necessary. He is not a murderous monster. I think that'll really do for the feet. And I checked the hands. I was right, they were basically bloody messes at the end. Like you can't even tell there's a hand there on the skin. And I also looked into the face. This just sort of vanishes under the face. We have no idea where it goes. Does it go home? Does it go to its grandma's house? We have no idea. All we know is wherever it is, it's in a better place. It's in a better place, people. Now take off your damn hats and, whatever, and give it a moment of silence. I'm gonna skip ahead for this part, but you can basically just pause the video and just take that moment and come back. Okay, now that that's done, let's get back to serious business. Super serio business. This is actually probably the split to the next section is probably actually around there. And then it's going to likely stop there and become a hand. Or fist, I don't know. All depends on what you see in your hands. But, let's see. How do I actually... I think for starters, let's actually break this back a little. I want to actually say maybe around there. Break it down. Break it down now. Then something I think I will do for this scenario, I think I'm going to kind of change the direction this seems to be going. Like so. Before it was kind of like going 2 over, 2 over, 2 over. Or 2 down, 2 down, 2 down, I should say. I think let's switch that to like 3, so we know there's like a bit of change in what is going down. And it will make where like an elbow is more apparent, which is a good thing, and it'll bring a little more idealistic qualities to the statue itself, which is a good thing indeed. Was just enjoying my Gatorade. Okay. Looking back at it, I probably should have used the wool. This time I am definitely not going to MC edit this. That took me too long to figure out what was wrong. Just no. Not again. That was horribly long for what it should have been. Simply because I didn't realize there wasn't a proper way to do replace blocks with the version of MC Edit 2 that I had. Okay, let's probably like break that single one, I want to say. Just for length reasons of like the... That's the forearm, right? I think that's the forearm. And we can better implement like a elbow or something pretty soon. What we did to, inside we do together. And we just kind of thicken it up. Thicken up like dough or something. Like pizza dough. Yeah, that's right, pizza. You guys want pizza? We're making it. It might be wool flavored. Are you guys fine with that? I hope so. I think with this part, we actually might want to sort of tone it down a bit in terms of how thick it's kind of looking. Because that's definitely not how that's supposed to kind of go. Like right here is fine, but from here on down, it needs to be one lower, just to make it look a little less ridiculously thick. I think that's looking a little better. Definitely a lot more arm-like. Something I think I may just do right now. Sort of close that off in the back, and it'll be a lot more arm for sure. And look a little less like spaghetti noodles. Is that how I did that? I don't think so. I think I need to break that bit. Yes. Wait. Uh, uh, this bit. That's why I was confused. So that's for a little more sense of that it's an arm going through. Like, we got the armpit now. So that's cool. Now for a statue particularly, we don't really need to worry about hands much. We really don't. We could have hands. We could. We definitely can. But we really don't need to worry about hands. Simply because the skin that I'm basing this on doesn't really show hands. Like, it shows blood and something. And then there's like sleeves on top of it, so there isn't really any hands for me to kind of make on this case. So just for that, we're just going to kind of give him bloody fists, like he's been punching the hell out of someone or something. Teaching them a lesson in pain. Clearly, whatever they did, they should not have been such a dick. I guess we can punch this bit out. We shouldn't need it any further. Is that how I went about this? I feel like I did a little... Aha! I was right. Wait, was that inside or outside? Outside. Wait. Yeah, outside. Got you. I'm onto you. Is it just like that? No, this bit also. Okay. Something I noticed was that there was a few bits of other reds in there, so I want to sort of emphasize on that. And I'm going to apply a bit of a randomness factor to keep it from being boring. Fabulous. But something I may do just now is implement these damn shoulder blades I said I considered. It's just driving me nuts noticing that they could be there and I just haven't put them there. Just do it, man. Just do it. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. Make your dreams come true. Don't let your dreams just be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. Okay, I should stop quoting that. I'm sorry. But okay. Next is the clothes. Now for this bit, I've basically considered just using either stone or different kind of gray blocks. But first let's remove the black stuff. Okay, what kind of stone do we actually want to use, or whatever? Light gray to light. Let's actually probably stick with stone. Stone is probably actually a good idea. With stone we build our monuments. Let's just sort of generalize the front of the jacket. Then from there we can sort out the rest of it. I guess it's not exactly as much of a jacket as much as it looks like kind of like a more of like a coat, really. That was an unnecessary addition, apparently. Oh, what am I doing? Not there. That's too close. And some of this is going to be kind of like flowy and behind and to the side and such, so... sort of at least make it to this far still connected to him. That low, okay. Get this bit covered. And all that hard work to make it feel like an arm just covered over. Personally, I'm not bothered by this. This is actually the kind of thing I'm used to. Like, it'll basically help retain certain shapes and make it feel a little more come to life to me personally. Like, that's not really a thing to really concern about. If it's like your first time doing something and like high detail, shape, or whatever, don't worry about it. It's fine. You'll be fine. You'll live to see it live on and grow. And become anew. It will become its own man. It'll become separate from what you originally started making and try to kill it and become the newer, truer form. I'm sorry, Wag, you're probably going to die. Okay, sort of meet these up on these sides. Like so. I'm thinking from here on the side, it will probably stick along a little more and then like separates down to there, and then it'll keep its separation and go around and follow suit with the same on the other side. I think that should be fine. I think it'll look fine. In fact, it will look more than fine. It will look fabulous. It'll look cool. Right now it's kind of a vest. That's perfectly fine. Because pretty soon it will become sort of an open shirt. An open t-shirt. It's like sort of like a button-up polio or something, but without like stripes and such, without plaid or anything. Comes in many forms, guys. Comes in many forms. Yeah, and that's starting to look kind of like a t-shirt. My OCD doesn't want me to go too far so soon. Okay. Just a bit more at this. Then I want to like take a quick gander at this all together. That looks great, actually. Looks wonderful. I'm pretty sure this is probably going to come a little more up front. Now for starters, just as a quick mention, this is not going to be as close as it's going to actually be to each other from one side to another. In fact, there's going to be this red strip going across, or down both sides, and that's going to make it a lot closer looking, and just enough space. Like, let me actually kind of start that. The one thing about this that confuses me is, why does it just suddenly stop versus the hood? We may never know. It's like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. The world may never know. You just need to learn to accept these things. Then they will accept you quite fine. Now it kind of looks like an open bathrobe. Oh, it's steamy in here. Anyway, let's move on before this gets awkward. Okay, just to sort of get to these sleeves. I think that's going to make a lot of difference. Especially once we get to like the bloodier part of the sleeves, like down here. Oh. I want to get the other sleeve just about as much down as that one. Otherwise, it may get confusing. Okay. That's kind of turning out more. It's starting to look a little more like a jacket. It's a jacket again, you guys. I'm thinking bring this in a little more would be correct. It's more like a so. Maybe this go up here as well. Yeah, that's looking cool. It's looking really cool. Oh, this isn't down enough. Okay, I would say the rest of these sleeves could kind of go in. I want to say maybe like a bit of a slant in here. When did I start that slant? Let's actually do that one more out. Then let's sort of like try to keep this one up. Make sure it doesn't fall behind. We need to pick him up if he goes down. Sort of one side to the other. Let's try this spot on. If we don't like it, we can change it. It's not gonna kill us to change it. Unless he does. I mean, he's kind of bloodied. We don't know what that's from. What happened? What happened? Anyway. I'm so tempted to just do the hood of that. But, let's actually just sort of do a few of these kinds of specs here. One there. There. Was a little iffy on that one, but whatever. I'm thinking maybe try to provide a bit of randomness factor again to this. Like, what's a good example? Probably this. And maybe like that. And that. And similarly, I think we shall do a bit of this in there. And a bit of that right there. That's super bright right there. I think that'll actually do. Yeah, I think that'll do. Now we just need to increase the amount of blood speckle among the clothes. And this time let's actually just stick with one kind of color. Alright, that's one. Sort of get this one up to par. Just this one here. Actually, let's do one higher. Like there. I think that should be good for the sleeves. Next, I think I want to do the hood. And then we'll do the rest of the jacket. Or at the very least, I will for sure. I've been kind of recording a little while. Is a thing. Sort of plan this spot out. Let's just bring a little more hood in. Kind of like cover this almost like it's hair or something. If you've ever seen hoods, they kind of like stick a bit to the back sides of your head to your neck a bit. And they have like a bit of like a airy space to like the side and the front of your neck. But the very back there, it's just like right there. Kind of like that. And it just like really goes around the rest of your head pretty well. Slight change to this. I think I'm going to make this one thicker, about here-ish. And actually make this bring itself out a little more. Just for presentation's sake, bring that one down. And it'll feel a little more like a head. Oh. Let's actually not do that. That would be too much. And now what's left is just this bit, which I think I will do off camera. It's a lot of this kind of thing, but it is a lot more kind of looser, and it's just very time consuming to think it out. So I will post the full thing for this pretty soon. Or actually, I probably already did. But thank you so much for watching. I'm 41 Solstice 25 Winter Solstice 8. I am also Steve still. But bye bye.